you. I now call our Chairman and Moderator, past President Adrian Nelson, to take over the meeting and further introduce our panel. Thank you, Adrian.
Well, thank you, President Phillip, and welcome to you all. It's great to see such a full room here today, and particularly to all of our guests who've come from far and wide to hear about our exciting new project, Growing Futures in Timor Lesté. And this particular project today, Growing Futures in Timor Lesté, at its heart is an economic and community development project. But I guess what's so great about it is also the important environment and sustainability outcomes as well. So internally, the project committee set up by the Rotary Club of Melbourne, chaired by Gary Fowler, including past presidents Peter Rogers, Bob Glindeman and myself. It also includes Dr Pat Armstrong from the Rotary Club of Manningham City. Pat, who can't be with us today, is a former chair of Rotary International's ESRAG, which is the Environment and Sustainability Rotary Action Group. So she's able to give us further connections to across the whole Rotary world in this space. So back in June 2020, when Rotary International announced its 7th area of focus, environment sustainability, our club jumped on board immediately and set up its own committee. And the committee was led by Peter Berg, who's here today, and also Gary Fowler, who's also with us today. And one of the first initiatives that the committee got involved with was the Rotary Carbon Calculator, which Gary created, which calculates how much carbon Rotary clubs use. And we still use it today. So last year, our club consumed approximately 12 tonnes of carbon dioxide equivalent, including, for example, 6 tonnes from the meals, like what you ate today, 4 tonnes from travelling, for you all travelling to get to the meals, and other elements as well, such as our office electricity and other things. Now, at the end of each year since 2020, we've actually purchased certified carbon social credits from the With One Seed Community Forestry Program in Bagoya in Timor Lesté. And this year, because we generated 12 tonnes of carbon dioxide, we purchased 12 carbon credits. Now, the With One Seed is a program which was set up by the Expand Foundation, which was founded by Andrew Ma. And those who were with us just a few weeks ago to hear this year's Vocational Service Award saw that Andrew received our club's Vocational Service Award. And he helped develop the With One Seed program first in 2009. Since then, it's planted 500,000 trees and generated over $1 million in profit. Now, the profit from the sale of the carbon credit are then returned to the communities, and they pay for things like farmer payments, local employment opportunities and community infrastructure. What we're talking about today, the Growing Futures project, is the next level which has grown out of With One Seed, and that's Matak. It's a model, using the One Seed model. It has a 50-year plan to plant 10 million trees across Timor Lesté. And with that, I'd like to just show you a short video to give you an outline of this project.
After the Indonesian invasion, all the forest gone. The most important things in our life is the forest as our supermarket and as our pharmacy. This story of Matak today, it was started in 2009.
We came up with this idea where rather than maintaining the forest, we would look at putting the forest back.
Under the Matak program, farming families will be paid to plant and maintain trees on their land for at least 30 years. Carbon credits will be sold to international companies. Profits from the sale will be returned to communities via Foundation Matak to pay for things like farmer payments, local employment opportunities, and community infrastructure.
They are grassroots. They're community-based, and this means it has direct impact on the lives of the people. So this is the kind of initiative that we all should support.
We spent directly into the community. We start the construction of the new school building, the community meeting rooms. We spend on the bridges and road where the farmers cut off in wet season. Also, we do the water installation for the community for dry season.
We're now working on planting 10 million trees over a 10-year period, engaging 20,000 farmers, and through that activity generating around 15 million tonnes of carbon to put into the international carbon market to bring money back into the country.
I feel very, very happy when we start to get this program going into the future.
There is going to be significant employment opportunities, significant education opportunities.
This is an investment in which you believe in nature. It's a long-term investment, it's an ethical investment that will provide sustainable income for the country as a whole and for individuals that live in this country.
Well, thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce our three panellists for the day, and if you'd all like to come forward. First of all, we have Amy Stevenson, who's the CEO of the Expand Foundation. Amy's a leader in sustainable development and cultural preservation with over a decade of experience working alongside Timorese communities, promoting education, leadership and cultural safeguarding. Dr. Peter Chow is a geospatial analyst specialising in remote sensing, GIS and machine learning. With a PhD from Monash University, his expertise supports Matak's reforestation and land management through advanced mapping and data analysis. And past President Bob Glindeman, who received Rotary International's Service Above Self Award for his outstanding humanitarian service and leadership. Over 40 years in Rotary, he's driven major international aid projects, especially in East Timor, securing funding for education, microcredit and community rebuilding. Bob's led the Donations in Kind and Second Bite initiatives, and beyond Rotary he's served organisations such as Care Australia, Very Special Kids and Navy Health, supporting vulnerable communities. Could you please welcome our three panellists for today? Right. You'll all be sharing the microphone as well, so since you're holding it, Amy, let's start with you. Can you tell us why this project matters?
I think this project matters because it's national in scale. Unlike projects we've had, traditionally in the charity cycle or the international development cycle, we see 4-year projects and then they close up and the next thing moves on. This is a 50-year commitment to Timor Lesté, and it has the potential to be quite transformative as well on so many levels: economic, social, environment. It ticks a whole range of boxes, and it gets out into the rural areas of Timor Leste, where environmental stewardship and economic opportunities are most needed. Okay,
and so can you explain maybe in a bit more detail about how does the money get to the farmers and to the community?
Sure. So Timor Leste is predominantly a cash economy, so it's quite a logistical feat to get money out to those communities. The way we do it is we work directly with Timorese community-based organisations, and they lead the work on the ground with the farmers. They coordinate the planting of the trees with the farmers, the monitoring of the trees, and they do the monitoring using a in-house built app called Trio2. And this app, it actually connects to an RFID tag, and using NFC technology, we tag every single tree, and more than 46 local rural youth will use the technology on their phones and go out and do a major annual tree count, verifying every single tree in the ground and the growth of that tree. all that data comes back to Expand Foundation and the amazing technical team that we have both in Australia and Expand and in Timor Lesté at the Foundation Matak. And they calculate and verify that every tree is there through the app and through GPS coordinates. And then we issue the funding back to these local communities, and with oversight of the local village chiefs and local authorities, we pay the farmers directly. So it's 50 cents per tree per year for every tree they keep alive, and we have a commitment to each of them for 30 years. And in many cases, farmers have up to 500 trees each that they're planting and caring for on their own land, and it doubles their household's income, enabling those farmers to be able to send their kids to university, or to cover education for the following year, or to buy tools or fencing for their farms, so to build upon the infrastructure.
Okay, so the income to the farmers, I guess, doesn't start on day one.
No.
Because the carbon credits they can't sell straight away. So how does the timing of that work, and then what's needed to get us to that stage?
That's a really good point, Adrian, and it often is the case, well, it is the case for all carbon farming projects. There is a real great opportunity to unlock climate finance for a lot of these subsistence farming communities. The challenge is it can take anywhere between 5 and 8 years to be able to actually generate those carbon credits. And in the meantime, you need to be able to outlay all the costs involved in setting up the project. And we also have a commitment to pay the farmer from year one, because we know that the first year of a sapling's life is when the most care is needed and when we really need the farmer to commit. And so we incentivise the farmers to be able to care for those trees from year one. So we have about a 5 to 8 year funding gap, and at least with the With One Seed project, it was a small project with one community. And Andrew Ma was a fantastic social entrepreneur who was able to rally up a lot of philanthropists to help fund the gap. The case with the Matak project is it's a much larger scale, a national scale, and so there is that 5 to 8 year funding gap.
Yeah, and I guess that's important, because that's where Rotary steps in and actually provides that bridge funding to help get to that 5 or 8 years as well. So that's what really makes it the economic and community development project, which is similar to what Bob was speaking about with the microcredit and microloans before. So we're really helping the farmers and the communities get to the stage where they can then generate their own income really for 50 years or potentially longer as well. Whilst you've still got the microphone, Amy, we've spoken about a few organisations. We've spoken about Expand, which you're the CEO. With One Seed we've touched on, and there's Matak as well. Can you maybe tell everyone here who's here today a little about who the key partners are and what their roles are in this project?
So our network is quite extensive, and deliberately so. We want as many organisations and partnerships through this national program, because it's quite a dynamic program with lots of potential for different organisations to tap in at different stages. So Expand Foundation in Melbourne has always traditionally been the project developer of these programs in Timor, and we've made a deliberate decision to devolve responsibility over time and hand that responsibility over to our Timorese partners. So in doing so, we established an organisation called Foundation Matak. And Foundation Matak is led by Manaleo Paulina Guterres, who you saw on the film there, and also Saha De Silva. And they are leading the national umbrella organisation and supporting between 4 and 10 is the goal, local community partners to be able to implement on the ground. Additionally, Pollination Group, one of the world's leading climate advisory firms, who wrote the climate decree law for Timor Lesté, has also partnered with us, and their support and their priority is to unlock that climate investment for us, and also to sell the carbon credits on a large scale. So where we're looking for carbon credit buyers from quite large multinational companies, and they're there to provide that support and that expertise and investment, because that's not our area.
And I guess the Rotary component of this very large project is only part of it, so we're certainly not necessarily part of the 50-year plan and the 10 million trees, so we have our designated component, but some of the funding, for example, that exists already includes the European Union and sort of significant organisations around the world.
Absolutely. So the European Union in 2020 first funded the scale-up of this program, and that was the scale-up was to implement the with-one seed model in 5 new areas, and we did that in partnership with Oxfam. And we were able to prove in that 4-year cycle that the model was replicable. So we could actually, implement the model in a new community, and it worked. So now we have 6 communities that are implementing this model, and already just that phase 2 with the EU funding, we've been able to onboard another 3,000 farmers now as of the end of this year. And close to 800,000 trees will be in the ground by December 2025 this year.
Next month?
Yeah.
Yeah, next month. Well, thanks, Amy. We might pass on to Peter. I feel you're being left alone there. But as our members would know, Monash University is a corporate member of the Rotary Club of Melbourne. And you first became involved in this project when you were a Monash student. Can you tell us how that came about?
It's a very interesting story. So back in 2022, so I was studying in PhD with my supervisor, Professor Zhu Xuan. And yes, we are working on the research topics about using the remote sensing data, satellite images, and LiDAR data to analyze the forest change induced by the fire in 2019. So I think back in the day when Andrew was still CEO, and he sent the invitation to my supervisor, and it's like, okay, we have a collaboration chance. Do you want to introduce some of your PhD students to help us? I was like, yeah, why not? So I just come to Expand Foundations and meet Andrew. It was like, okay, so do you have any new technology to help us to improve our tree data collection process? So currently we are measuring the tree diameter using the tape and record it in the Trio2 system. So that is kind of a reasonable. So he was like, do you have a new technology using a phone to taking a picture so we can just give the estimated tree diameter very fast. I was like, yeah, why not? If you can give everyone a newest iPhone, yeah. And it's like, no, we don't have that money. So yeah, then I was like, maybe I can develop a deep learning model, a new AI model, computer vision model, to estimate a tree diameter based on the tree photo. So basically, when the field staff measuring the tree diameter, they taking the tree photo as well. So in theory, we can use the AI model to estimate the diameter from the photo. Yeah, so I built up the model, and we were able to achieve almost 90% accuracy. And I present this to Andrew, and said, oh my god, it's amazing. But well, we still want our field staff to measure this tree because we still need a job. Yeah. So that project has been suspended for 2 years. And yeah, and then I was doing the volunteering work in Expand Foundations since then, and now I'm working as a full-time job in Expand Foundations.
Yeah. Well, so obviously the value that gets to the farmers and the communities is the carbon credits and selling the carbon credits.
Yes.
So could you perhaps provide a little bit more information about the forest mapping and the tree measurement platforms, and how they achieve this gold standard for the carbon credits? So how do they work?
Yeah, so gold standard has such a role to a strict definition of the project area where we can plant trees, where we cannot plant trees. So we developed a map called eligible planting area, so an EPA map. So that map is the combination of the satellite images from the 2021 and 10 years ago, 2011. So this map can tell us which area can plant the tree based on the gold standard rule. So the gold standard rule says that if this area that have ever fall within like forests, wetlands, and the water body, and the old building area, so this will be considered ineligible to plant trees. And so we just developed this model to use this EPA map to able to tell us where we can actually plant trees. But the challenge is that the map is back in 2021, and now it's 4 years. 4 years out. So it's kind of not accurate enough, and that brings us a little bit problem. So, for example, in this big area, the map it just shows says, okay, this area is like 60% forest, and within that area, it just say, okay, is it entirely ineligible? I was like, okay, we still have 40% eligible area to plant a tree, and we received a lot of farmer agreements saying, okay, why you say we are ineligible? So yeah, that kind of problem. So then we have the chance to cooperate with my supervisor, Tushan, and his master student, Jija, to build a new model to improve the accuracy of this eligible planting area map. And yes, sorry, I didn't really answer your question. Yeah, to bring the credibility of the carbon credit, we have to collect two data. One is the tree data, one is the farm boundary data. So the farm boundary data we collect by the field staff in the Timor. They use the GIS software to go around the farm and map the area and send those data to us. So I'm the one doing the assessment of the eligibility of this farm based on the EPA map. And that's one thing. After we find where is the eligible area to plant trees, we deliver the tree to the farmer, and they take care of the tree for 30 years. And each year, the field staff will measure the tree diameter around tree trunk, like 1.3 meters high. Measure the diameter and send back to by us the Trio 2 systems. So we are using this tree data, like 500,000 trees data, and we calculate the above ground biomass from the tree diameter of each 80 trees. So this above ground biomass will convert to the carbon based on the elementary equations from the previous research. So we divide we separate trees by each species, and each species have this elementary equation to calculate the carbon based on the diameter we measure. Yeah, so that's basically how we calculate the carbon and to estimate the carbon credit.
Well, thanks, Peter. So as you can see, it's certainly very science-based. Expand Foundation actually has probably at least half a dozen universities around Australia who are involved in this project in different capacities. And what Peter was talking about is sort of just one element from one university, but it happens to be the university, of course, that's our corporate partner, our corporate member, so it's really important to hear. Bob, I might skip you at the moment just to enable questions from the floor, which of course you can ask Bob as well. I'm sure there are people who've got lots of different questions, or perhaps Peter Rogers or Gary, who are part of our committee, may wish to add as well. But do we have any questions from the floor as well? Clive.
Are there long-term plans to harvest the timber? Is that where you actually take the carbon out of the environment?
Do you want to answer that?
Sure. Actually, under gold standard requirements, we're not allowed to do any harvesting. So the only option that the farmers would have would be to work with us to set up a sustainable timber industry 50 years from now. So there is currently no timber industry in Timor, or the infrastructure or export, to set that up, or for farmers to access that. So it is something we could look at with them down the track, but we have a strict permanence requirement under Gold Standard to keep the trees in the ground for at least 100 years, and the farmers know that, and a big part of our focus is to create as many different social enterprises and diversify the economic opportunity coming from the forest, so farmers don't want to chop down the trees. So we've seen, some fantastic. One of the great benefits of this project, you're talking about peace as one of your outcome or one of your focus points for Rotary, is that when you bring farmers together and you organise them, you see a whole range of other activities that are not tree planting start to emerge. So you see things like them establishing savings and loans groups because money is going into the community. You see, farmers from one village now kind of working with farmers from the other side of the country because they're all doing the same thing. And so there's that peace element too, where 2006 there was major conflict in Timor. It was a civil unrest, and so they've been able to bridge some of those conflicts and tensions across those areas by interacting and doing one activity together. So, for example, in the Bagir area, trees have been planted for the past 15 years. We're stopping tree planting this year. And for the next 15 years, while we've still got carbon credit income, our focus is now shifting towards things like eco-trekking, food preservation, solar lighting programs, other ways for them to generate income where they're relying on retaining their forest. And so that's a big educational piece, and we certainly don't want the trees to be chopped down anytime soon.
That's right. We've actually reached our time today, everyone, so if you do have any further questions, our panellists will all be here for the rest of today, but could you please put your hands together and thank Bob, Peter and Amy. We do have, sorry, not for you, Bob, but we do have a small thank you, which is for you, Amy, and that's for you, Peter. Of course, these are our irrepressible Rotary socks, which are we heard the venerable Peter Philip Endersby speak and give his reflection earlier today. They come from his wonderful wilderness wear factory. They're 700% Australian owned, made, and are fantastic. So wear them with pride, and if you do have to do a site visit up in Timor Leste, please go ahead. So thanks again to our panel.